It's so funny. Your photo always pops up, and you're like making that.
Very serious.
I always fall for it, thinking it's you.
That was my haircut that my wife gave me during COVID. Like first time she ever cut hair. First time I've had a home haircut since I was 5.
The COVID cut.
But
You said she was good at it.
she did a great job. I gotta say, I was impressed. I didn't know what to expect coming out of it, but yeah, she did a great job. But I look beautiful.
You did. I had to cut mom's sideburns. I don't know what else to call them. She had these little wings by her ears, and she got her hair highlighted while she was here. And she said, "Can you cut these?" And I was so nervous. I'm like, "Oh, it's really close to your face. Like, I just don't want to screw it up." She's like, "You won't." Oh my God, 2 snips. And I was like a nervous wreck. My hand was shaking.
Trying to balance them out. One's a little higher.
Seriously. And then did you ever cut hair? Because it's so easy to like, it's hard to make it super easy. Like you see why they hold the comb so steady and then they cut with the comb. Because I couldn't do that. I didn't have a comb like that. So I was just kind of randomly snipping.
Get out the bowl like she used to do.
Yes. To me too. We had the bowl haircuts.
Let's get those mutton chops cut, Mom.
Gosh. Oh my God. Speaking of mutton chops, remember Dad had those long mutton chops?
Yeah. I did a tribute to those one time. I look at some of the old pictures of me probably 10 years ago. I called them the super chops. They came all the way down to here.
Super chops.
Super chops.
You were styling.
In fact, I was going to that. I had just gotten on that boxing kick. It was probably like, well, geez, now it's a long time ago. So that was 2006, I think. And at the gym, they called me Chops because I had done it while I was there.
Oh.
They're like, come on, Chops. Call me Chops.
That's cute.
It was like 3 months I had them on. And then there's just
3 months you were Chops.
There's like various pictures of different stuff. Like we went on vacation that year, went to Vegas that year for Jude's birthday, I believe. I had those big chops. So it's pretty funny to kind of see that 3-month span in various pictures when I had those rocking the super chops.
That might be the picture for this artwork on this episode. We might need to find those super chops.
Maybe I'll shave them back in. I got to get my hair cut. I went it was probably, was that 2 weeks ago? Jeez, maybe it was. But I'm like, oh, it's Friday. I had to run to the store. I'm like, I'll run over. I'll just get a quick haircut. I went to the haircutting place. They're like, we're booked. You can't even wait. And I'm just like, really? Oh my God. It's like Friday at like 2:00 or something. So I called 10 places. Everyone's booked out. I'm like, Jesus. I guess then it's like, well, going into the weekend, maybe that's the whole thing. Like people get their haircuts on Friday. I don't know. I just go on random days when I have time. Like I don't like set aside a specific day to go.
But... Oh, I do. I have to book my girl like a month in advance.
Yeah, I'm going to that's a high-end place.
You're going to Super Chops, Super Cuts.
Super Chop Cuts.
Super Cuts with a chop.
Do you do chops?
What? Do you trim chops? I need a chop trim.
But yeah, so I ended up the only person that I got to, it was a guy, it was like 3 towns away. Cause I'm like, man, I really want to get my hair cut today. And he's like, yeah, if you come right now, he's like, when can you get here? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He's like, if you come right now, I can squeeze you in, between my 2 appointments. And I'm thinking, this guy's going to like zip through. Okay, let me get this cut.
What am I getting here?
Yeah, I'm like, forget it. Never mind. So then I was going to go this week and we got busy and, and it's like, all right, there's just no time. So I'm going to try and squeeze it in tomorrow. Cause today again is Friday. I'm like, well, maybe later today after the live, I could shoot over. It's like, oh, it's Friday again.
Well, your hair looks trim to me. You need a cut?
It's a lot of product. It's a lot of pushing back.
You fooled me.
I'm starting to get because my beard gets gray, but my hair is pretty dark still.
Yeah.
But it's edging onto my hair, like right here. So it's almost like Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos. Like I'll get those white wings on the side of my head. And maybe that's the best thing for me. I don't know.
Paulie Walnuts.
These black lines here.
Oh, you do. Frank pointed that out.
Like the black coming into the white and then the white going.
You're just like a walking piece of art. All I have is dark hair, which I'm happy to say I don't dye my hair at my age, but I do have some gray. Well, look how dark it looks in this video. I do have some gray coming in, but I don't dye it yet.
Yeah,
which is
that's good.
nice because I
Yeah,
know that's pricey
we've
because
lucked
I
out.
will be doing it now.
We've lucked out with the dark hair. I got it
I
because
sure
yeah, I
did.
mean, for years, I mean, everyone, I thought I dyed my hair, and now that my beard's gone gray, I mean, if you look up close, there's a lot of gray in my hair, but yeah, I always get that. It's like, oh, you just dye that your hair, and it's like, yeah, then I put all those gray highlights in to make it look so real. Dye it right down to this
What did mom call that when she used to, frosting?
frosting.
You frost your beard. She had
Frosting.
the frosting cap on and they used to pull those little holes through. Oh my gosh, that was funny. Anyway, this week has been crazy. Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
am just like ready for my vacation tomorrow.
Well, it's kind of on the tail end of some crazy. I mean, we had a couple of crazy weeks, and I mean, I think mine was a little crazier than yours the previous weeks, just with everyone in town. But
Yeah, yours was.
even
And the
this week,
graduation.
right, right. We had, yeah, it was my son's graduation, and people were in town. We had talked about that, but yeah, then this week got crazy because, as you said, you're leaving for vacation, so we're trying to get a lot of 2 weeks worth of work done in 1 week.
So yes, I'm going on a trip tomorrow with my daughter, and this has been planned since before COVID. It was really her high school graduation trip. She wanted to go somewhere, and we went somewhere together, just the two of us. Well, somewhere, went to Los Angeles together, just the two of us when she was 10, and we had the best time. And we haven't really ever taken a trip since just the two of us. So we had planned this for her high school graduation, and then COVID happened, and we moved and we started our business a couple of years ago. And so we just never had time for it. So finally, we're doing it now. Tomorrow, we're going to Puerto Rico, which I've never been there. And we're also going with my good friend Beth and her daughter, Catherine, who's been best friends with my daughter since they were little kids, 2-year-olds. So it's a really exciting trip. And Beth and Catherine picked Puerto Rico. I mean, we loved it. We said great because they have been there a lot. They know exactly. They picked the Airbnb we're staying at. They know it's a safe area. They know where to go. And that makes me feel better traveling with them because they kind of booked everything and know everything, what we're going to do. And so it's fun. It's exciting. I haven't been on a trip in years, and don't want to say country because it's the United States. Feels like a new country, and new food. And I plan on doing a plant-based travel log. So I'm going to try. I think that would be kind of fun just to see how I do it because I don't even know how I'm going to do it. I mean, after we're done with the live today, we're going out to buy some snacks. So I'm going to pack some snacks in my, not my carry-on, the checked bag. And we're going to be in an Airbnb. So right away, we're going to go to a grocery store and plan like lunch and breakfast and snacks and, coffee and tea and stuff like that for the week. So I know we're going to have all that, but they're going to want to eat out. We're going to be out and about. So let's just see. Hopefully, Phill and I always say when we have our holidays, we're like, oh, we're going to take a video of the barbecue. And then you get in the moment and it doesn't happen. And so we always have the best intentions. We have done it a few times, but we just did it for Memorial Day. You actually made it happen. Quick one.
Yeah,
But
it's easy to not do those things. Yeah, well, you're
yeah.
right. You get caught up, and it's like, oh, then the food's already done, and it's like, all right, get the camera going and get, everybody wait. But,
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. We want to eat right when it's done. And just like a vacation, I know even when we went to Mom's with Hattie, we were like going to, did I ever post that? They have this great like fruit market. You've been there where they get those smoothies that.
Hey Roberts or
Hey Roberts. Yeah, something like that. And it's so awesome. I love going there. And so I took this whole video, and the whole time the two of them were like, get that out of my face. Stop. I was like, here's my idea. Oh, it's going to be fun. My mom, my daughter were all like smiling, and this is going to be fun. And they're like, stop that. No. It's just like, all right. So I'm sneaking, like filming them from behind.
That's how my wife is. The same thing. Like I always envision it's just like, yeah, we'll have fun with it. It's like it's live. It'll be fun. We can now. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to be on live.
Nope. Same. I know. I mean, Frank said he would come on, and I do want to have him on the podcast. He's a doctor, and he always says, well, he's a radiologist doctor, so he's not going to give like medical advice or anything like that. But he has eaten this way for years. He knows how the body works. Not so much as being a doctor to come on, but I love, the way he thinks about this lifestyle, and I think he would have great input. So he's up for doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I try
good advice on things.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be fun. But yeah, for the most part, they don't want to be on camera. They don't want to be filmed. So I'm going to try on our trip. Beth, on the other hand, might take over the camera. You may see my friend Beth a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even if you can, I mean, when you're doing those things, you can not be on TV, like, or not be on camera too. I mean, if you guys are eating lunch somewhere and you got a
Right.
great meal, you could just scan the table, or things like that, where people don't want to be in, they certainly don't have to. But
Well,
it is fun to
Beth,
see those little check-ins.
yeah, Beth's a good sport. She posts on Facebook or on Instagram a lot, so I know she'll be up for it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's a probably a lot of meat and rice is what I'm picturing there. But I'm sure they have, I mean, I can always find something to eat, but it'll be interesting because I feel like the menus, and we're not going to go out to eat like fancy dinners a lot. We're going to cook at home too. So yeah, should be fun. Let's see what I can get. I'm going to post it. Maybe I'll do a whole blog post on it.
yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
So that's
And
coming up for me tomorrow.
yeah, and I mean, it's good to see that stuff, just to see how other people are doing it. And we do have a lesson in the 28-day plan just about that kind of thing, about traveling, about being, like you said, it doesn't sound like you called ahead, look to see if there's restaurants around where you're going to be, or
I've been too
did that.
busy.
You're right, doing any of that planning, which is something I would probably do. And like, that's not something my wife typically does. Like, that's something I do. So it's like, all right, let me just scout out and see if there's anything
Yeah.
around me right away, because I panic when it's like, all right, it's dinner time and we have nowhere to go now. No one looked into this, or
Yeah,
but
I
there's
do that
always
too.
options. I mean, there's always some option, especially like you said, if you have a place you're staying at, that
Mhm.
makes it way easier for you,
Yeah.
like, just because you can, not only can you make a few meals there and eat there and know exactly what you're getting, but you can actually make some stuff there that you can take with you. You can make
Yeah.
a sauce and you can bring it to the restaurant, or so you can make it work a lot easier.
Yeah, having an Airbnb is great because we have our own kitchen, we have our own fridge, and we're doing that. Like that's the first stop, And Beth was so great. She's like, "Oh, we'll find plant-based restaurants and but well, Hattie doesn't eat meat, my daughter, but the two of them do. So I'm always the type that's like, don't worry about me, like I'll make it work. I don't want it to every night plant-based, trying to
Yeah.
search out. But you're right. Tonight I think I will do that. I'll go on Happy Cow, which if you guys don't know about that app, we'll link it. But it's great. It just shows you all the like vegetarian, vegan options and then like fully vegan restaurants like anywhere in the world. So you just pop in or type in where you're going and they all pop up. So I can do that later tonight and just, go on Yelp or whatever. I like to read reviews of the restaurants. We go over all this in the Kickstart too during that travel post episode lesson during that travel lesson. Getting them all mixed up here. But yeah, Happy Cow is great. I'll do that. That's a good idea. Just so I have some idea of what's around there where I'm going.
Right,
Make a
right.
little, yeah. So yeah, it's been just a crazy week. And my daughter being home, she's been home a couple of weeks from school and just like making her favorite foods along with the foods for the meal plan. Cause that's my challenge because she wants food, she wants the tacos and I already made like 3 meals and half of them she can't have because there's nuts in them. So then I'm like, after hours, after I cooked all day, I'm making tacos from scratch. And I'm the only dishwasher. Someone in the meal plan said, or someone in the Facebook group said it this week about, oh, it's hard to cook this way because there's so many dishes. And there really are. If anyone knows it, it's us because we do it like so often all day long. But yeah, it's part of it. It's part of the, doing something for yourself. You just have to cook. And prepping is key. Planning and prepping makes your life so much easier when you eat this way.
And having some stuff on hand. I know someone said like, hey, I'm just having a bowl of Ezekiel cereal tonight, and ironically I had just done the same thing, because no matter how much you prep and plan and you're ready for the week, and I was never a person who Sunday I'm planning for Wednesday's meals,
No.
or what am I having all week. Sometimes it'll be like, hey, let's have this week sometime, and then I would I kind of plan, and then I would run to the store that day. But just having something on hand, because plans change. I mean, my wife ran out the other day and she got caught up at work, and it's like, hey, some meals, like I get them ready, so when she walks in the door, everything's ready to go. I'm hungry, she's hungry, and she's the person that like, oh, I forgot to eat breakfast and lunch and now I'm starving and it's dinner time. So I
Yeah.
try to have it like ready to go when she gets home. It's like, hey, great, hot meal on the table. And then she'll, it's like, I'll be home by 5:30, and then at 5:30 she calls and says, I'm not going to be home till 9 tonight. So it's like, oh, there goes the meal. those are the nights where it's like, all right, well, now what do I do? This was my plan, and now there's no plan. I'm just going to have a bowl of cereal, and we'll eat this tomorrow. So I do have some of those kind of really quick things. And like you said, I have frozen rice or frozen quinoa. There's always some sort of vegetable. There's broccoli here. There's cucumbers. I can make a salad. Having those kind of quick throw together meals, or having some leftovers from other meals where you can repurpose into a bowl. And I just did it myself. I had that tahini sauce. I remade that tahini dipping sauce for those fries the other day, and I still had a little bit left. I just made a loaded baked potato. I put that tahini sauce. I had some vegetables in the fridge. It's like, all right, cool. I have a loaded baked potato with a tahini, dressing to drizzle on. So it's just good to have some backups and some stuff in case your plans change. But you do have to cook. I mean, in the end, if you don't like cooking, you don't want to cook, what are you doing? You're ordering meals every day, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure how else to get around it. You have to.
Even if you don't eat this way, don't you have to cook unless you eat in restaurants all the time? And I get it. It's more cooking because we are cooking all the components ourselves. I get it. It is a little bit more cooking, but that's kind of the trade-off. You have to plan for that. You just have to do it because it's the only way you know what's in your food. It's the healthiest food to eat. And if you want to eat that way, that's why you do it. If you don't care, that's fine. It's no judgment. It's just your choice. Sometimes I don't want to. Sometimes I pick up the phone and order Thai food and it comes with all the oil. And I just know that that's what's going to happen. Sometimes I do, not often, but sometimes it's my choice. Some people never do that. They just wouldn't put that oil in their bodies, Sure. So I know it's not good for me. And that's just my choice once in a while. But I mostly try to eat this way. So for the people who say that it's too much cooking, just do what you can. Even if you make 1 or 2 of our meals a week or just one, the rest of the time you don't need a recipe. Just throw together a stir fry. Learn how to cook like that. Like Phill was saying, rice, frozen broccoli, and a sauce. That's a meal. Guacamole is a meal over rice and beans. We go over like all these quick little meals in the Kickstart. I love meals like that where a lot of the meal planners are doing that. Like Kim, she just made the bang bang sauce from last week. She threw it over a bowl. Like I had never done that before, but she's right. She said, this sauce is so good. You could throw it on anything. I feel like that's how our sauces are. Like you just threw the tahini sauce over a potato. I've done that with the pepper jack cheese. I put it on a potato, throw a little avocado on and some beans. I mean, it all works. So it doesn't have to be a new crazy recipe with 4 components every single night of the week. Who wants to cook like that? I don't. I mean, it can just be one night a week, just add some of these meals to your life. If you want to have, somebody said they wanted fast food. If you want the taco Mexican, what is it? Mexican taco pizza. I can't remember what it's called exactly. Mexican pizza from Taco Bell. We did a KFC copycat, bowl. These things, if you want back in your life, just try them out. Just make 1 a week. I feel like you can make time for that because that makes eating this way fun. Then you're not just eating beans and rice every night. I mean, I would get sick of beans and rice and guacamole. Well, maybe not the guacamole, but beans and rice every night. You don't want that every night. Try our pizza, try our almond parm. It's 4 ingredients. You toss together and shake it up and you have a cheese, sprinkling cheese. Just try it. That takes 2 minutes.
In part of the Kickstart, you have to, understand just in life, if you want to do anything, it's going to take some practice. It's going to take some time. If you want to play guitar, you don't just pick it up and start playing. You have to put in the time to practice. And that might not be enjoyable. If you want to learn how to fly a plane, same thing. You have to put in the time to do those things. You don't just walk in and say, hey, everything just comes so easy. But in the end, once you learn those things, it does make things easier. So if you learn how, you learn some shortcuts, you learn how to double batch, how to do these things when you're cooking. Yeah, there's a lot of things I do now that I would have never done before. I never made double batches of components of meals just so I can easily cook later. I'd always say like, oh, it's just, I have to do this every single time, So it's all those things that add up that makes life easier down the road. But I think, you have to have the mindset of it. I have to put in a little time to learn some of these things, to understand that. And here, not only are you learning technique, but you're learning recipes and concepts of those recipes so you can kind of build your own. Cooking is great because you can always make it your own. You don't always have to follow the recipe exactly. Hey, you like a little bit more garlic? Put in a little bit more garlic. You like more herbs? Put in that. Whatever that is, you can always make it your own. And we do see some of that. And that may not be something, Judi and I try to cook So everybody loves it. I mean, that's even harder because I know like my wife will give me input on what she likes and I cook what I like. And it's like, you can't always do that. You have to cook what everybody likes. And you're not always
Yeah.
going to hit everybody 100%. I get that, it is hard, but you're trying to please as many people as you can and not just yourself. So that adds another element to, the cooking the way we do. You guys can cook it and alter it however you like it. It's a little easier on that end. So
That's funny because I was pushing the cabbage rolls and the peppers on Phill, and he's not a cabbage roll guy or like a stuffed pepper guy. And I love those. And it's like, he's like, I don't know. But you see, people love them. I'm telling you, they're so good. And so it's like, he doesn't love them as much. So even with us trying to come up with meals and planning things, and we have to kind of think about that too. What do other people like? Although you'll never see a beet recipe on our site now.
I said I had
One
that
thing I don't like.
that roasted beet soup one. I never loved beets. I mean, when we were a kid, we'd eat those candy beets or pickled beets or whatever it is, like rarely, but yeah,
Well,
we had made that pickled or that beet soup, roasted beet soup was actually really good, but I haven't made it since. But
people love roasted beets. And so maybe we should do a roasted beet salad. See, like that's something that I would not want to be eating, but I know people love beets. So I got to open my mind
right,
to
you
beets.
then you're making beets all the time.
Beet burgers,
Beating it into our heads.
beet soup, borscht. Anyway, I was wondering what, so we're going back to having company in town. You guys went out for Aiden's graduation dinner. Weren't you going to get a vegan steak or something like that?
Yeah, we
How was
did.
that?
It was good. It was so it was a nicer restaurant. He wanted to have a steak. My wife didn't want to go to a nicer place. So we went to a nice steakhouse, and they had two main options. So there was the vegan steak, and they called it chop steak. Essentially, it was a fake meat. It was probably Impossible Burger. I didn't ask him what it was.
Oh,
And then they added stuff into it and chopped it all up and formed it, and then and fried it. It wasn't grilled. I believe it was just pan fried. And then they
okay.
had like a mushroom gravy. And then I just ordered, and then it had like asparagus and some, maybe it was just asparagus. I can't remember. Just like some vegetables under it. And then they had a baked potato, but even on the menu, the baked potato didn't say vegan. So I just asked. I said, the potato itself, like I don't want anything on the potato. The potatoes has to be, vegan. It can't be,
Just a
unless it's
potato.
cooked in butter or something like that.
You never
And I said,
know.
no, we can bring you like a dry potato. And I said, all right, can you do that? But can you also put some extra gravy either on the steak or in a cup so I can put it on the potato? And they said, sure. So just asking those types of things, I was able to get a potato on the side. Me and my wife split the potato. There was the vegetables under the thing, and then the steak. And she got the same thing. She got the steak. So yeah, the food was delicious. I mean, nobody else got anything plant based.
Of course, at a
My son's there
steakhouse.
for the steak. My daughter got a steak with crab, and they've all got steaks and crab and all that stuff. But like we were pointing out, someone had just made a comment about cravings. Like if that was week one or month one
Yeah,
for me, that would have been rough. That would have been rough watching everyone eat meat and crab and like
right.
butter and cheese and then all that stuff. It doesn't bother me. Like none of that bothers me anymore. And I never, even then, I thought like, how can that not bother me?
I
Like going
know.
some smelling it, and yeah, you're always going to smell things that smell good, and especially when you're hungry. But in the end, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I go in there and we had a great meal, and that's what it was. It was a great meal.
Somebody
And
mentioned Taco Bell on the site recently, and I tried to make a comment about it. Like she's craving Taco Bell, and she said, like, how am I ever going to live without Taco Bell for the rest of my life? Like, it's almost like, what did I sign up for here? And I remember that scary feeling because, like I've said it before, I just quit eating meat after watching the documentary Forks Over Knives, and I just stopped. And I was like, am I really doing this? Like, it was scary. I was thinking, how can I do this? But how could I not do this? And just this turmoil back and forth in my brain. And I know the feeling. It's been a long time for me now, but I know that feeling. And it's almost like you're thinking, never again. It's like oh my God, like I couldn't grasp the concept of never again of all my favorite meat products. And so I just want to say, try not to think of it as never again. We talked about this before too. It's like if you're eating something that you love, like a delicious chocolate brownie, and you love brownies, but you also love chocolate chip cookies. When you're eating that brownie and enjoying every moment of the brownie, you're not like, but I wish I was eating a chocolate chip cookie right now. You wouldn't even think that. You know why? Because you're enjoying the brownie. There's lots of things you can enjoy. Yes, the thought of maybe never having a chocolate chip cookie again might be sad to you, but that's what we're trying to do here. We are trying to replicate all those flavors. So, do you really crave the dairy and the butter in that cookie, or is it just all the flavors in that cookie? I could come up with a cookie that tastes just like that cookie, but it doesn't have dairy in it. That's what we're doing here. So if we can, the Taco Bell thing, if we can recreate all those flavors, you're not exactly craving the beef that's in the burrito or whatever you love at Taco Bell, like the Taco Bell Grande. You're not really craving the animal product. You're craving the smokiness, the saltiness, the texture of that meat, all the components that are in there, the cheese sauce, the crispy shell, the guacamole. We could put all those things together and make a Taco Bell Grande copycat that you would love. Now, whoever wrote this comment on the site, she's just thinking Taco Bell, Taco Bell. I have to give it up. I have to give it up. And it's like, okay, just think, what if we gave you something that tastes just like it? That's what we're trying to do. And I think we're doing it. No, we don't have everything covered. And if you want like a porterhouse steak and just eat the steak, we're not going to be able to recreate that. No, that's true. But when you're eating great food day after day after day, and you're eating our jalapeno lime crema and our smoked Gouda pasta and our pizza and all of our pepper jack cheese, and everything is just so good. And this is what we work hard on. So we want to be eating those foods too. So I just take it one day at a time. Don't think about next week. Don't think about next year, 10 years from now. Don't think of it as, never eating them again. Just think about all the great things you can add to your life, and just think about how you're healing your body. You're going to feel better and better, and you're healing the planet with every bite, saving animal lives. It's all good. And you're going to start feeling good about all those things the longer you eat this way.
To me, it's almost like when I was smoking. I smoked for many years, like I don't know what it was, 16 years or something like that, something crazy. And then when I quit, so it's like, oh, the first week of quitting, before I quit, it's like, oh, how can I ever go without a cigarette? And now looking back, to me, it sounds ridiculous. Like a cigarette, it sounds, again, in my head, it sounds ridiculous. But at that time, it was like, how can I quit smoking? Like, there's just no way. I'm addicted to it. I equate it to the same thing. How can I not eat cheese? How can I not eat beef? And the same kind of thing applied as I quit. And it's just like, oh, that first day there was kind of panic. What am I going to do? How am I every morning? The first thing you do, coffee and a smoke breaks that work. And you're after a meal, before a meal to curb my hunger. All that stuff kind of equated the same thing. How am I going to go to parties without eating meat? How am I going to have dinner parties? How am I going to, what am I going to make? What am I going to do? So kind of that panic, that first week, kind of the same thing. It's just like, oh, I really want to smoke. Just like I really want Taco Bell, or I really want meat. I really want cheese. You're going through that. You're kind of detoxing.
You're addicted, and it's a habit.
Not only your body, but your mind, mentally having to kind of process all that as well. Just like with the smoking. And then week 2 wasn't so bad. I felt better. I was, the cigarette smell was starting to dissipate around us. Like my, hands didn't smell, my clothes didn't smell, things like that. Week 3 was easier. Week 4 was easier. By the end of the first month, it's like, wow, I went the whole month. I don't need to smoke anymore. And you kind of get in that state. And now I'm enjoying, hey, flavors coming back into my food. This tastes different.
Wow.
Same thing. Then it turned just like with meat. And I know you used to tell me this, and I did kind of bring this point up where it's just like, how am I going to never love meat? Now I do go to the grocery store, and it does kind of make me gag seeing all that, kind of that, and I don't want to get graphic or whatever, but just all that meat. It's just like, I walk at Costco and I have to like go through the meat aisle, and it's just like, oh my God, there's just so much. And sometimes it does, I start to gag a little bit where it's like, man, there's just a lot of just raw meat around me as I'm kind of same thing with cigarettes. It was like, oh, now I smell that smoke on people, and I smell smoker's breath and smoking clothes. And again, no offense to any smokers.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And I never knew how ensconced in smoking I was, and how mentally and physically I was so connected to that. same thing here. And as I was typing that all up, like, I don't want to do that on, in this one post. It was massive. But yeah, I really see a lot of connections between, again, not smoking specifically, but that process of getting away from it. Same thing with me. And now here I am all these years later. And you're right. And I say this all the time. I don't think about it before I'd be panicked about what to make. Now it's like, oh, what am I going to make? And like, I'm going to make this and I'm going to make that. And I have stuff to do, to cook and things that I never had before. I have all these in my back pocket now. But yeah, nothing's easy. I mean, nothing in life is super easy. And I can quit smoking. It's going to be no problem. No, there is a little bit of a battle. You do have to kind of go through a process. And like with the lessons that we have, I didn't have lessons on how to quit smoking. I didn't have lessons on how to deal with things. I didn't have lessons on, even then, we didn't have any lessons. We had, you gave me a plan. Like when I started, it was like, here's the plan. And you used to talk to me about these things. And it's like, oh, here's the impact you're having. And here's what you're doing. Yeah. So I would have kind of more vocal lessons. But yeah, you have a little bit, you have some tools in your back pocket to use and kind of understand. And I think that does help when you realize like, wow, you could say like, well, I'm not going to eat this because I'm trying not to eat meat, or I'm trying not to eat cheese. Or you can say, I'm not going to eat this because not only am I not trying to eat meat and cheese, but it does have an impact. Those animals are suffering. There is an impact on the world. I am helping what's going on here. I'm not hurting what's going on. So all those things do add up. And I did really have kind of an epiphany after I started, whereas those things do add credibility to what I'm trying to do. It's like it adds a little bit more to for me to be able to sustain that, because it's not just about me.
So yeah, when I gave up dairy, it was, I gave up dairy a few years after I gave up meat. And it was after I took my class in plant-based nutrition, and I learned about dairy and how bad it was for you, the casein, and it's like the number one carcinogen. And I was like, okay, I'm done eating dairy. But when you learn about like what you just said, when you learn about the animals and all, again, if you eat dairy, this is what we're always afraid of doing. I don't want to sound judgy, but this is just honest to God true. This is how it worked for me. When I learned about the dairy industry, it's horrific. And, I just watched all the videos and I learned all about it, and I saw what was really going on and what goes into it. And if you learn about how dairy cows are treated, that like sealed the deal for me. Like, it's one thing for me to say, no, I don't want cheese. I don't want cheese anymore because it's going to harm me. And then when you learn all these other things about dairy cows, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not just about me anymore. Like, I can't put my money into that. I can't support that anymore. It's horrible. And so, it's up to you if you want to learn about it. I lived in, Phill always says this, in bliss. What do you call it? Like he knows it, but he just doesn't want to know it. It's like cognitive dissonance, but ignorant bliss. That's it. Ignorant bliss. You kind of know, but you want to keep on eating it. So I'll just go along. And I did that too. We all did it for years. But anyway, for me, it's like, once I know, then I just have to stop.
Hey everyone, it's Phill. I just wanted to take a quick break in the discussion to remind everyone that SmartyPlants has 2 great meal plans to offer. The first is our 28-day kickstart, which is for people who are curious about a plant-based diet but really don't know where to begin. It's also for people who have health or weight issues and need some help getting healthy. Our program includes 28 days of carefully planned recipes that are simple to make and super tasty. Things like Caesar salad, nachos, and pizza. It also includes meal prep instructions, a grocery list, and daily lessons on things like stocking a plant-based kitchen, weight loss, and navigating social situations. You'll come out of it a plant-based rock star. If this sounds good to you, you should become one of our Kickstarters. Our second program is our weekly meal plan. This is for people who have the plant-based basics down, but they want trusted and delicious recipes each week. Our members receive at least 3 new recipes each week created by our very own SmartyPlants team. Things like pesto lasagna, crunch wraps, French onion, grilled cheese, sauces, mains, sides, desserts, and more. Our meal planners have access to our full recipe database, our meal planner where they can customize their meals each week and create a grocery list, meal prep instructions, and great support, of course. Stop downloading random recipes from strangers on the internet and check out our tested and delicious recipes. If this sounds good to you, let us do the heavy lifting for you and become one of our weekly meal planners. For more info, check out our website, SmartyPlants.org, and use the discount code PODCAST2022. That's PODCAST 2022. You'll receive 50% off our 28-day Kickstart or 50% off our weekly meal plan for up to 3 months. Now back to the show. So getting back to the just the barbecue or just when people were out of town. So yeah, we did. We had a great dinner. We were able to go out. There was no issues. But we also had a barbecue here that you came to. So what I did was, and I know you don't do this or you stopped doing this. So I did make. We had tacos. We just had a big taco bar. We had, I think, 11 people here. It wasn't a huge party, but I was cooking. So it's like, all right, I want to make something that's easy. I don't want to spend. Nothing's worse than being at your own party and then you're standing at the grill the whole time or you're in the kitchen while everyone's sitting outside. I just don't enjoy that. So I try to do as much as I can, prep as much as I can, get ready as much as I can. But I did make a taco bar. So we made guacamole. We made, cut up all the
veggies,
accoutrement, right? The veggies. We had a couple of different kinds of shells. We had chips and just all that.
Good, really good.
And then for the filling, we did one meat. I did one plant meat, and then we had some taco crumbles as well. So I offered 3. One meat if there are people that just hear that just they wanted the meat. They weren't going to have anything else but the meat.
Yeah.
There are people that, hey, what is that plant-based, meat? Can we try that? And it's like, I could make some. Yeah, that's no problem. So people wanted to try the plant-based meat. And then I made the crumbles for, Judi and I, or whoever wanted just to have the crumbles. I think I had the crumbles on hand, so there wasn't a ton of them left. But
there's
enough
plenty though. Yeah.
Yeah, there was enough to make enough tacos. And I don't mind eating the plant-based meat. With tacos, usually I don't, just because once the taco seasoning's on there, what's the point? Like all you're kind of tasting is that chewiness and the taco seasonings anyway.
So he's talking about whatever Beyond crumbles. So he had a animal meat. He had Beyond or Impossible crumbles, and then our plant-based taco crumbles.
Right. So yeah, so it was what it was. I wanted to tell you I do like to take the opportunity to show people like, yeah, this, this isn't meat. Like this isn't meat. So whether it's with the crumbles or even the Impossible meat or Beyond meat, when people eat that, sometimes they're surprised when they've never had it. So I do try to, offer some options.
No, that's good. See, that's the difference. I don't cook meat. Like I don't want meat in the house. You're good about that because you're pleasing everybody, but I just can't. Like I just can't do that. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to be around it. But I did let Maurice put meat on the barbecue last summer because if someone asks me, can I bring it to your house? I'm not going to say no. If you bring it and you eat it, that's fine. I don't care about that. I'm just not cooking it on my stove. I'm just not, I just don't want to be doing that. But yeah, so she did. She brought a slab of ribs and cooked them on the grill. It was kind of shocking, but everybody dove into those ribs because we had a lot of meat eaters here except us. So as soon as she made those, there went my jackfruit ribs or whatever I made. What did I make? I made something great. I made like barbecued soy curls.
Yeah.
They went too. Everybody ate everything, actually.
Yeah, everything did go.
This is last summer.
But you go out of your way, and it is what it is. I get it. But you go out of your way, you make this big plan. I know. And someone brings ribs, and everyone's like, "Oh, the ribs!" Like, all right, you meat eaters, stop them.
They all dove into those ribs. It was like, yeesh.
Yeah, these soy curls are good, but what about those ribs?
Oh well, we try.
We just got, not just got, but we're going to we were invited to some people's house this Sunday. Come. We're all going to go out for dinner, and it's like, oh great, let's see if we can find a place that has stuff, or if they find a place like we could look. Then it turned into a barbecue at their house. Hey, we'll just have a barbecue. And they had said, like, don't worry, we'll make vegetables on the side for you guys. And it's like,
on the side. Can't wait for my vegetable sides.
So I said, well, just tell her we'll bring something. And I was gonna, he has a smoker. So I'm like, oh, what if I brought like a seitan roast and we put it on the smoker? Like I said, see if he'll allow me to throw it on, like right when we get there, even if it was for a half an hour, it would just warm it up a little bit. That's all we need and get smoky flavor. I wanted to do that here. I don't have the smoker, but my neighbor does. I was going to possibly see. I was actually gonna go to the local barbecue place and see if they could just throw my thing on the smoker, but then I'm thinking, I don't know, does the smoked meat then get in there?
Yes,
Like, I'm not, because it's
probably.
the smoke isn't meat. The smoke is from the wood. So
Right.
I don't know if it's smoking the meat. The smoke's going in. It's not like cooking and coming out. I don't know, but I
Well,
didn't.
no, I think the smoke part would be fine, I think, but it's just the grill. Like you have to just make sure the grill is clean, I guess.
Right. So I didn't do that. But anyway, so then I'm like, well, I'll do that with the seitan roast. And I forgot that so there's two couples going. It's the couple that's having it, we're going, and then another couple is going, but their son is gluten-free, very gluten intolerant. And I'm thinking,
Mm.
what if that seitan roast does emanate something
Oh,
getting on all the
God.
food? And I'm like, we can't even bring it because she won't
No.
even, like, if we go there, they won't let us bring anything into the house, which is fine. I don't
Oh,
care.
don't risk that. That's like
Yeah,
all
so we
gluten.
know not to do that. Even when he comes and sleeps over, we make sure everything's separate. We keep it all, together. So I got to think of something else. We just thought of that or I thought of it at the last minute. I'm like, oh no, what's his name is Eddie's has a gluten intolerance. Like we can't bring that. So
Did you ask if you could bring something? She's
well,
gonna.
I ask. I mean, I told Shannon just to let them know we will bring something.
Yeah.
I don't, and again, it would probably be fine. Do I want to go and just have vegetables? Shannon's
No.
like, we can bring some rice and put the vegetables over. It's like, I don't know. It's just not dinner. I said, like, let's bring something that we can eat. Like, why not?
Why not?
I don't mind. So I don't have those. I don't have the fear of saying, of insulting people. It's not insulting. They
No.
know I'm not going to eat whatever they're cooking. And then what if we got there and it was swimming in butter and they're like, oh, you don't eat butter either? We didn't know
Mhm.
that. So that's happened too, where it's like, I don't want to just rely on somebody else. Because if I do, I have to call ahead and say, listen, make sure there's no butter on it, make sure there's no cheese on it. Like now I have to run through a laundry list of things, and some people know and some people don't. That's the problem. I don't know what I'm going to get. And I don't like putting myself in a position where it's like, now we're here for dinner. I didn't bring anything. I'm hungry and I can't eat any of the food. Pass the chips because I'm going to make a meal out of that bowl.
Now I'm eating oily chips all night.
Or a bun.
But isn't it nice to bring something? It's just, I think it's a
Yes.
nice gesture. We always bring food.
I
Yeah.
think last time we went there, I brought like that spicy curry hummus dip, and I brought pita chips, and we brought something else for dinner as well. So we brought like an appetizer and like a side dish for dinner. I stopped and brought stuff. So I brought like a bag of falafel. We have a Mediterranean place. I brought some falafel. We had the hummus, so it was kind of an appetizer and for dinner. I had like two, and then we brought something else from that place, like one of the salads or something like that as well. So
I have been craving falafel lately.
yeah, there's a place that we get that I like, and again, it's deep fried. I know that when we go, but it's almost like a Chipotle style falafel place. So it's like build your own. So it's like a whole window. So it's like, all right, I'll take some of the onions, I'll take some olives, I'll take lettuce. And then they have the tahini sauce and like a fire sauce. So there's like two sauces I can get. You can make it into a plate, you can make it into a wrap. Like it's really good. So
well, our falafel is oil free and delicious. So
so to make it at home,
make it at home. I like it better. I do.
Like that, I guess.
I like it better because it doesn't taste oily and it just has all the flavors. I mean, yeah, it takes some time. You gotta put the time in, but once it's all done and you have your tahini sauce in the fridge or tzatziki, which our tzatziki is amazing, cucumbers, olives, onions. Oh my gosh. Yummy. That's what I want. I want to snap my fingers and have it done because I am not making that today.
I hope you prepped that whole meal.
I am done cooking. I've got, oh my God, a week off cooking and dishes. I am not even making dinner tonight. We have food packed to the gills in the fridge right now with all the cooking I did for the meal plan. The meal plan's coming up. So I can't believe I have a week off dishes. Woo.
So will Frank cook while you're gone, or is he going to be eating out a lot this week?
You know what's funny? Last night was so funny because he loves
just come to him that he was going to be kind of stuff.
No, kind of the opposite because he really appreciates it every night. Like you were saying with Shannon, every night he comes home and I have this hot cooked meal. And not only that, I have components and multiple this and that. And he loves it, but he does have a tendency to like keep eating. he doesn't have a weight issue, but he has gained some weight lately and he has like a belly. I mean, we're getting older. It happens, as I do too. It's like you start putting on some pounds as you get older. So you kind of have to watch it. I mean, I don't know. It's just harder it's just easier to put on weight as you get older. But the volume of food that he eats, it's all good stuff. But like we've said over and over, and I don't want to get into it too much, it's still calories. And so, he does sit all day. And we said earlier, as a doctor, he sits in a dark little room reading MRI scans and CT scans all day. And then he comes home and he eats a giant meal and goes right to bed because he gets up really early, So typically he's a runner. He loves to run and, we go for long walks. Like he's very active. But when we get into these, work weeks, it gets tough. It gets tough to put in the time for exercise. So anyway, he actually was saying last night, he came home and I like bombarded him with like 5 different choices because he's also my number one taste tester and I want his opinion on everything. And he kind of looked at me like, can I just have this one thing? I was like, yeah, of course. And then he said something about me leaving tomorrow. And I said, the fridge is all stocked with everything. You have this, you have that, you have this, you have that. And I was showing him, it's all marked and organized. And he was like, I just might have fruit while you're gone.
Was he kidding? It'll be gone by
Sunday. Know. It's just like he might need a little bit of a break from all the eating. But yeah, I was like, well, if you don't eat it, freeze it, please. I don't want it to go to waste. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. First of all, the fridge is packed for the week. The freezers are packed and the counters, how we always have. I mean, he just went and bought like all this fruit for the week. I mean, he's set. So I think he's kind of looking forward to a lighter taste tester week. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're going to try to do, just to get out and walk more. I know have you been walking more? I know you said you were going to start when the weather got nicer.
Yeah, well, I started, I'm trying to get into that every day, and it's, I guess it depends on the weather every day. Obviously, we've had, it's kind of some off and on rainstorms the last,
it's been a weird
couple of days, but just here, it's been great. The weather's been kind of crazy, which is great for the grass and the plants and everything outside. And everything's like booming green.
Yeah.
But in the end, the weather just kind of goes up and down. Even the other day, it was like 55 or so. I was like, "Ooh, it's kind of chilly outside," and the storm clouds are brewing. It's just like, this is not a good not a good mix. But I have been walking. I have been doing the Oculus. I've been just kind of doing some different stuff. But I definitely enjoy just kind of getting out. I want to get back into like just get up, get out and walk, and get back and start working. I'm also balancing like the dog. So it's like I get up for the dog in the morning. My wife doesn't get up for the dog. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but I try to make sure everything runs kind of smooth. Sometimes I get up at about 4, between 4 and 5. At some point, the dog gets up and starts whining. She wants to go out. So I take her. So it's like, all right, if I'm gone and the dog's just whining at 4 in the morning, at 4:30 in the morning, eventually my wife's going to get up and take her and then be like, why didn't you walk the dog? It's like, because I wanted to go for a walk at 4 in the morning. It's like, no, just wait till the dog gets up. And then I wait and it's like, all right, now it's 5, now it's 5:30. Like, let's go. When are you getting up? I want to get out and walk. And then it's like, all right, now I got stuff to do. And so then I try and get at noon or, whatever, take lunch and then walk at lunch if it's nicer during the day. But I do like that. I do like just getting out and being in the sun and like,
that's a great idea. Walk at noon then. Just make sure you get out there. And plus, it's nice to take a break and walk, I think, because you get up so early. You got like 7 hours in by lunchtime.
I know. That's why I kind of balance that out and, just saying like, okay, I'll take a break. I've been working for 7 hours already. May as well just take a little break.
Yeah, we haven't really been walking too much. I mean, just with like working, like you said, the weather last week wasn't great. The first week Mom was here, it was nice, but then it turned and it got cold again. And I don't really want to walk. I don't know. I'm just waiting for it to like warm up. And plus we've been really busy, but I am looking forward to that. We like to walk to the lake. The lake's walkable. It's like a 10-minute walk from my house. So we walk down to the Lake Michigan, and then we walk up and down the lake. It's just so nice. I mean, I'm grateful to live so close to the lake because there's just something about being by water. It just feels good. It feels different. There's a lot of people down there. People are barbecuing and just having picnics and parties. And it's just fun. Riding bikes, jogging, running.
Lapping at the shore.
Yeah, it's just really nice. Sometimes you see like windsurfers and paddle boarders. And speaking of paddle boards, Frank bought 2 paddle boards last year that we never used. I don't know why. We were so excited. We're like, kids, we bought paddle boards. And then the summer just kind of went by, and we couldn't get like a pass to get it to launch. We couldn't get like a launch pass. So it was just too much. Like we didn't know how to figure it out, but we got the launch passes this year. So he got 7 beach passes. He got a launching pad for 2 paddle boards, and hopefully we are going to use them this year. But with the launch pad, we get to go on that special patch of beach, which is like it's just reserved for people who have paddle boards and sailboats. They like section it off just so people could get in and out. They don't want that beach packed. But it's nice because we get to go on that beach now because we have the launch pass. And it's just fun to sit there because you see all those pretty sails. You were there with me. Yeah, there's just like this.
Some of the website stuff down there too.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So in Evanston, where I live, the whole length of the town is beach pretty much. So there's all different beaches, but this particular section is so pretty because it has all those colorful sails, and it's just fun to sit there and watch, and it's nice scenery. So that'll be fun. We're going to hopefully start paddleboarding this summer. Hopefully the kids will get into it.
My mother-in-law lives in Georgia, as you know. And we go down we had been going down every year until COVID hit. But right before COVID, we had gone down, and they rented paddle boards. So they rented 3. So the kids wanted to take the paddle boards out. And so they did. The lake is like one of those kind of long meandering lakes that connects, so it's not just like a round lake. It's like, you're just kind of on part of the path of the lake. So there's all these little inlets around the lake, and it's really long, and it opens up in different spots. And it's called Lake Oconee in Georgia. So the kids took off on the paddle boards. We're going to walk down to the dock, take the paddle boards out. It's like, okay, no problem. Don't stay out too long. Well, after about a half hour, wicked storms blowing in.
Oh.
It's just like the kids didn't bring their phones. They had nothing. So it's just like,
oh my God.
They walked down to the deck. It's like, okay, the dock, and it's like, I don't know which way they even went. Did they go like to the right or to the left? You're like, you better go look for them. And it's like, how? And they're like, the other paddle board.
You're like a storm's brewing. I don't want to go out.
Right. So it's like, where do I go though? Do I go right or left? You're like, well, maybe go right. So it's like, so now I'm on a paddle board in the lake, boats, zipping for safety, making waves. I'm just like,
like, they're like, where is he headed? Into
the lake. It's like into the abyss, because it's
my
like,
God.
I don't even know if I'm going the right way. So now it's like, okay, is it possible they went into any of the inlets? So I'm kind of staying by shore, going into the little inlets around. I don't know how long. I was out there for an hour looking for the kids, and finally, now I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go down the lake now. So now I'm just paddling down the lake, and like off in the distance, I like see like 2 little heads on paddleboards. I'm like, oh my God, I've been out for an hour and a half now. I'm exhausted. I'm sweating. Like,
that's so dangerous.
Starting to converge on us.
Were they coming in towards you?
They were. So it wasn't that bad. But then it's just like, yeah, hey, we went over to the beach, over here, and I was like, we gotta get home.
You're like, save me. Pass out.
We didn't realize how far the beach was. We wanted to paddle the beach and back. It's like, I'm dying. I'm exhausted. I'm like, can you tow me back? Back to dry land. But no, I did it. But they are fun. But man, oh man, when you're like on a mission like that, that was brutal. Like I was, and geez, I mean, that was pre plant based, so I was probably 270 pounds at the time. Like I'm wearing a life jacket on the raft trying to.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a fear of the water because I had a couple of things happen. I mean, not a big fear, but I don't like to get too far out, especially when I feel vulnerable, like on a paddleboard, because when Hattie was a little kid, she was on this trampoline or something that was like way out, and like it just got really choppy, and and then like they all jumped off, were trying to swim in, and she kept getting pulled back, so she knows the feeling of the undertow pulling her back. And then her dad, she was little, she was like 3 or 4, her dad like reached and grabbed her and yanked her back. And I'm not going to say he saved her life, but he had to do that and step in. He could have saved, I guess he did. She would have been sucked away, but it wasn't that dire of a situation. She just felt it. But ever since then, she's like, ooh, the lake can be dangerous, And then, so when we were on vacation once, I remember I was following Frank, and we were snorkeling, And the same thing happened. It's like, no, not the same thing, but it just got really, really choppy. And I felt like I was trying to swim forward, and he's hard of hearing. So he was in front of me, and he's swimming with his head down, looking at all the beautiful things under. And here's me, Frank, Frank, trying to catch up. And then boom, it would hit me in the face, and I'd be sent back like 10 feet. And then I'm swimming and swimming, and boom, I was sent back. And Frank's just loving everything he's looking at, and he can't hear me. I'm screaming. I'm like, that's it. I'm turning around. I am not following him anymore. So I just turned around, and then he finally turns around and looks back for me. And I was just like, bye. This is way too much for me. I'm going to get sucked under, and you're not even going to hear me.
Anyway, that was Judy's first boyfriend, Frank. You never saw him.
Never saw Frank again.
Exactly. And Frank 2 came in.
That was Frank 1. And then this other story of my neighbor, Bill. So Lake Michigan can just get really choppy, and he was in a kayak. So I always feel like you're kind of stuck in the kayak. I don't know, like maybe you're not, maybe you can get out, but he was just having fun. And the lake turns choppy really quickly sometimes if a storm's blowing in. And he was just going like in Evanston, just going along the shore. And then I think he ventured out a little bit or something, just a little bit. He wasn't even that far out, but it got really choppy. And all of a sudden it flipped him over. And he was like trapped and flipped. And like, he swears like he felt like he was going to die. Like he was trying to get out, and he was struggling. And he thought, like, it flashed in his mind, I'm going to drown here. And he's like close to shore, just having a leisurely kayak day on a Saturday. You know, that's what it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to think twice about these paddleboards.
Well, and that's it. So paddleboard. So, and I made a mistake. It was a kayak I was in, but I wasn't locked in. It was open. Like, yeah, those ones where like they suck onto your body or whatever.
Oh, that's a little different. I'd feel more safe in a kayak. I thought you were on a paddleboard. I'd feel a little more.
The kids were on paddleboards.
Okay.
So they had one kayak and 2 paddleboards. So they were on the paddleboards, and I was on the kayak. So, but again, if I flipped over, I would just fall out of the kayak. I wasn't like belted in. I would not feel safe on that, because I'm
not either.
I'm very unstable on those. Even on the I can't do those paddleboards. I can't. Everyone here can do them. I can't. I'm just very awkward.
Can you go on your knees though? You don't have to stand all the way up.
A little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better. But now it's just like, I just don't. It's just not enjoyable for me. You know.
No.
Nah, not really.
I like to sit on them and then like lie down in the middle of the lake and sunbathe.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, sitting on them would be easy. I have no problem with that. But yeah,
it's a workout. Yeah, it's an arm workout for sure.
I'll probably try it again. You know, I mean, I don't mind trying things, and sometimes it just takes some time to get used to. But
you can try it at my house.
Yeah, so I've had a few, and I don't want to get too much into water stories or horror stories, but one quick one. When I was a little kid and we were at the pool, we used to belong to a membership pool that you go, private pool.
Willow pool.
Yeah, there was a million people. It wasn't like some fancy exclusive pool. But you needed to have
it's like a public pool.
Yeah. But it had a deep end and then 2 shallow ends on each side, but the deep end stretched the width of the pool. And I remember I was little, like we used to go there when I was a little kid, and I whatever, I'm probably in 4th grade or whatever it is, 3rd grade. I just remember like the ball, that we had a ball, and I was in the deep end and the ball was in the water, and I'm like, I can get it. And Mom's like, okay, don't go too far. So like I jump in, and as you're going for the ball, it's going a little further.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm swimming for the ball, and the ball's going a little further. And like, as the water from your body's kind of pushing and eventually it's like, oh, now I'm getting tired. And your mom from shore, she was like, get that ball. Like,
the ball will keep you buoyant.
And eventually I couldn't get the ball, and it was going under. And Mom had to like jump in and grab me.
Oh gosh.
I was like, I thought I can get the ball. Like the ball was
oh, that's so cute.
But you get panicky, man. And it's like, you don't, it's like, oh, I'll jump in and get the ball. And you don't realize like, the ball's going to be traveling farther, faster away from you than you.
Right. I definitely remember trying to get balls, and you can't get them because they're going, you keep on pushing them farther. And also the danger is you get tired, and then all of a sudden you're tired and you don't know what to do,
Well, and that's the other one. And I'm sure you've heard the story, but I'll just tell it real quick. So when we were in Georgia one year, we went to, we didn't even rent jet skis. The neighbor had a jet ski. And then they had what are the other ones called? Not jet skis. The ones just sit
Wave runner.
Wave runner. So he's like, oh, I got a wave runner, but it was an older one. So it's like you get on it, and it's just like, how do you get back? on it if you fall off. And he's like, well, you have to, in the water, you have to reach up to the throttle, give it some gas, turn the thing to get leverage, and then pull yourself up and get back on. And I'm just like, okay, that's how you get back on. We went out of the lake, and I'm the screwball. I'm probably, whatever I was probably in my mid 40s or something. I'm jumping wakes. I'm doing hard cuts. I'm trying to get that thing out of the water. And eventually Shannon was doing her own, my wife was doing her own thing. And eventually, of course, I fell off. I took too hard of a turn, and now I'm in the middle of the lake. I tried to get up for half an hour, and now I'm exhausted. There's no way I can pull my soaking wet body back onto this jet ski from the water.
But could you hold yourself above water? Because you had hanging onto the jet. You were going to drown. Okay.
So it flipped over. So I flipped it, I righted it, but there's nothing to grab onto. As you grab onto it, it just rolls over. So that's the whole idea, is you have to give it leverage. Now they make them where there's a little ladder that pulls out of the back. Climb up the ladder on the back and you can get onto them. That one didn't have it. It was like you had to pull yourself up.
That's giving me a stomach ache thinking about it.
I'm in the middle of the lake and I cannot get up. So eventually what happened was I have my hands reached up to the handlebars, giving it gas, and I'm dragging in the water, and I'm tooling myself trying to go back to the shore.
Trying to steer.
And a boat pulled up and like, you need some help? Like, yes, I do.
Yes, I need help.
So they put their ladder down. I climbed onto their boat, and then I was able to climb on the jet ski. And then I went 2 miles an hour back to shore. It's like, I am not falling back off this. And then my wife pulls up. She's like, hey, that was great. And I'm like, where have you been? I almost died out there.
You deserted me.
He's like, you probably fell off and couldn't get back on because you were hot dogging over all those waves.
She was
yeah, it was rough, man. That was, not only was it embarrassing, but man, I was physically, I tried so hard. You're trying to muscle yourself up, and eventually you just get exhausted. And it's like, there's no way I can pull myself up onto this jet ski anymore. So
I had no idea you almost died a few times in the water.
Those are just the ones that are suitable for air.
These sound like great vacations.
Needless to say, I do a lot of reading on these vacations now. I'm sitting by the pool.
Wow. All right.
It's again, it's half stupidity of me really not realizing how hard it would be to get back on, thinking I can do that. I can do that. I can yank this 300-pound body soaking wet out of the water onto a jet ski with just leverage. So yeah, there's been a few incidents, water incidents that have happened. All in the name of summer fun.
Let's try to keep it safe, people, this summer.
Know what you're getting into.
Well, that was fun. I feel like we were just getting into our summer stories, and we have to cut it short because we decided to make this a two-parter because, boy, do we like to talk or what? So we are going to be back next week with more of our summer update, which will actually be an update on what we're doing this summer. This week we had a tendency to go into a lot of other things. We're going to tell you all about what we're doing with our summers and all the plans that we have and how our gardens are doing, about my upcoming wedding this summer and some trips we're taking. So come back next week for more of our summer updates, and thanks for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe if you can. It's one click and it's free, and it really helps us out. And we are so grateful that you're here. See you next week.